You're watching Teng Tools Muscle Garage, the home of New Zealand's toughest muscle cars, hot rods and street machines. Muscle Garage is proudly brought to you by Teng Tools in association with Mount Shop, Maguire's and Niedercar. Coming up, big blocks and bias plies. We gatecrash American Muscle Car Club's drag day at Medi, and we shed raid Kruger's barn deep in the heart of Stragglers territory. First up though, the Maguire's crew bring us something a little bit different this week. Just when you thought you'd heard it all with build stories, along comes a fresh take in the form of Andrew Sinclair's Superbird.
Oh, I guess all Kiwi kids are car kids. That's how we grew up. My dad liked cars, and obviously, you know, you go through the old E.H. Holden stage and through to the HQs and then the Commodores. So we enjoyed our cars. The people are really interesting. The people around cars and the different walks of life they come from, and the fact that they all love cars and the cars themselves. Oh, it's probably the era too. I'm a little bit stuck in the you know, late 60s into the 70s when race engineers drove decisions that car makers were making, more so than I guess designers and stuff nowadays. But so that's the interesting side of things for me.
Andrew's love of cars would push him towards the racetrack, most recently the Central Muscle Cars class behind the wheel of a Holden Commodore. But for the street, something a little bit more desirable was at the top of the list. However, Andrew would be beaten to it, by his own dad no less.
Yeah, sort of a long story. When we started getting interested in doing something cool, conversations happen over a beer all the time, and it got a bit more pointed. But I didn't click. I didn't realise anything. And we were talking about, you know, what car would be, what colour it would be, what sort of wheels it would have, what sort of engine. And we used to go through these details all the time. And unbeknownst to me, that my father had decided to give me a surprise birthday present. And they were, him and Vic from Sonic Racing Machine were building the car, hence the questions. So one day I turned up at Dad's place after getting a request to you better get here, not knowing what was going on, and this rolls out of the shed and he says happy birthday. So I'm extremely fortunate and lucky here.
To answer your two burning questions, yeah, it's got a Hemi, and no, Mr. Sinclair Sr. isn't looking to adopt.
Everybody asked me that. No, I'm very lucky, very fortunate that he's a car guy, and he loves giving to his family, and he enjoys doing that. I guess to a non-car person, it's probably the ugly duckling of the car world, but to a car guy, especially a race guy, you know, everybody knows them and knows what they achieved and how good they were, and you know, that's why they banned them so quickly. So there's that part of it, and then there's obviously how I came upon the car, which is the other, you know, special part of the car for me. So it's a 70 Roadrunner, built with Creative Industries nose cone and rear wing to turn it into a Superbird. It's got a 465 cubic inch Hemi running twin 4 barrels with a Tremec 5-speed gearbox, Dana 60 diff. Willwood 4 pots on the front, and Roadrunner drums on the rear. It's taken a little bit of work to get it to drive like it does now. To start with, you know, we had to get the balance a bit better and the spring rates and stuff like that. But now it's just drives so nicely. You know, even over the crappy New Zealand roads, it's really nice.
A surprise car is all well and good, but let's face it, taste in cars is a personal thing. And great intentions don't necessarily mean the car is built exactly the way the recipient would like. That's certainly not the case here. The Superbird is a carbon copy of the dream car in Andrew's head. This is the bird he would have built had he been just a bit quicker off the mark. Well, maybe except for one small detail.
The only thing really that we possibly might have been quite late in the evening was nitrous. I was going to have nitrous, but common sense ruled the day.
And all that aero? It's not just there for looks.
over about 90 miles an hour, you can just feel the car just start to settle down. Steering gets more direct. It's beautiful to drive at that speed, obviously on the racetrack.
So yep, the Bird has seen track time, but ultimately it's a race-inspired car for the street. We're not talking all parade laps at Beach Hop either. This is a car built to be driven.
Well, for me personally, I think you've got to do it. Because you go out and you scratch it and you ding it and stuff like that. It's just impossible to stop that happening. So you might as well just do it and not worry about it. I mean, obviously you don't go crazy with things, but you just got to get out and use it, because otherwise it'll end up like a museum piece. And race cars like this is inspired by, that wasn't meant to happen. Get out and use them.
Right, thanks to our friends at Need a Car, we're headed for Meri Dragway to catch up with the American Muscle Car Club of New Zealand.
It was set up in 1986. It was an idea of a guy called Alan Edwards, and with about 5 other people, they got together and had a meeting in Liverpool Street in Epsom, and decided to come up with the American Muscle Car Club. There was a little bit of toing and froing what was a muscle car at the start, but they came up with 1961 to 71 American performance cars, 2-door car or convertible, performance engine. It was also set up as an associate membership for cars outside that were appropriate.
It's definitely a club for people that are passionate about muscle cars. It's obviously hence the name. The club has a lot of purists that like the hubcaps, steel wheels, and we've got a lot of people that like the more street rod type stuff as well. But certainly a big membership, 150 people plus. Very social club, families included. We always get out somewhere, try and be as responsible as we can. Like, we are all gearheads at heart, but we try and be as responsible as we can.
We have a number of members who have been like second generation people. You know, we bring our kids along to most of our stuff, so it's pretty cool. I mean, if you're into muscle cars, we call ourselves the best club in the world. You know, it's fantastic.
Well, I think the muscle cars was a special place in time, you know, in the 60s, early 70s. I was happy to be there, the music and the cars.
They're a dying breed, they're not making anymore. They're from a bygone era. You can buy new cars that are faster than these cars, that's a given. But these cars just have a thing, maybe it's the time when we grew up, our generation.
Always loved them, haven't always been able to afford them. It's just something different. You know, I've got a late model Mustang as well, and you know, at the end of the day, they're just two totally different vehicles. There's nothing like getting in a 60s muscle car and having a bit of fun.
And today's Club Day would certainly see plenty of that. The American Muscle Car Club are no strangers to Meri Dragway's quarter mile. They've been holding the very popular Father's Day drags there for many years now. Well, except for this one. 2017's event finally cancelled after no less than 3 rain-offs. But with hundreds of competitors, the Father's Day drags don't make for an entirely relaxed affair if you're a club member, most missing track time to ensure the day runs as planned. So club days like this one make for a good opportunity to cut loose. And with a range of marks falling under the muscle car banner, it's also a chance to settle some scores.
Always a bit of rivalry between the Ford boys, the Chevy boys, and then the Mopar guys throw, their 2 cents in. And
Some of us are quite one-eyed about what brand we get. You know, I got 6 cars and they're all Fords. It's easy to spell.
Certainly today, once you put that helmet down, all those things you plan not to do just go out the window, and you get your race face on and think you're better than you possibly are. And bias ply tyres and horsepower are not a great combination. So a lot of guys will run slicks today. There's definitely some veterans here as well that are very, very good at drag racing. And there's some newbies. So it's a case of not letting the race fever take over really today.
The whole thing is a fun day. I mean, drag racing is a little bit like playing a social game of footy, you know. No one ever plays a social game of footy, you always play the best you can. we always thrash our cars as hard as we can. But yeah, it is a low-key day. There's no championships. We've got a couple of little trophies, big deal. It's like chocolate fish racing, you know. You know, we do some little things like take the road tyres off. Those who want to run slicks on the back, they do that, you know. Open the exhaust, make a bit of noise, because we all like the sound of noise. We don't know if it makes it go faster, but it's a bit of fun.
You're back with Teng Tools Muscle Garage, proudly brought to you by Teng Tools, in association with Mount Shop, Maguire's and Niedercar. Right, thanks to our mates at Niedercar, we're back with the American Muscle Car Club at Medi Medi Dragway. And as the name suggests, it's a club passionate about the golden era of factory performance cars. In fact, obsessed might be a better word.
An illness, I think my wife calls it, but you know, I've got it and I don't mind it.
My wife and I have been together for 11 years, and the green car behind me is our 40th car in 11 years. So some tell me it's a disease, and if it is, well, I'd never want a cure.
Certainly from 61 to 71, I'm well and truly stuck there. I've got 4 or 5 of them, and again, everyone likes their favourite. I've got a thing about post sedans, 2-door sedans, hence this car. I like the pure, raw, no frills approach of a post sedan. They were the cheapest thing going, and usually had the biggest engine jammed in it, so it kind of works for me. And I like steel wheels. Come to New Zealand recently. It's a 69 Buick Special. It's a 15,000 mile car, so been stored in the barn. Little old lady owner, everyone's heard it, but was pulled out of a woodshed in Michigan. Guy that worked on the car has been running it in the pure stock muscle car drags in the US. Cars run a best of in the 12s. Small block 350 Buicks are not known for making loads of power, so it goes pretty good.
It's a 1966 Chevrolet Biscayne. It's running a 540 big block Merlin, turbo 400 and a Dana 60 rear end. So it's a good old car. It looks like a bit of a sleeper until currently we've got some slicks on there, but normally around the street it's a good old sleeper. So it's a great old car. Today's really just a trial and error day, really, just see what it's like. It has done an 11.36 at 119 miles per hour, but that's back in Arizona, so with the previous owner. So hey, whether I'll be doing that today, I doubt very much, but today's just let's get used to it, you know, get familiar with it before it ends up in the Armco on the wall or something silly like that, which nobody wants.
It's a 69 Mercury Kruger. I've had it decoded through the Kruger Club of America. Apart from the paint, it did leave the factory as a green car, but it's actually wearing a Commodore colour at the moment. And the only other thing is non-factory, it's got a black interior. It did come out with a sort of parchment interior. It's got a 351 Windsor, 420 horsepower, 3-speed top loader. So yeah, as much as I was at the Street Rod Nationals a couple of weeks back and I saw a couple of younger guys go past and went, oh wow, a 4-speed. No, it's a 3-speed, and even for a man of my era, it's taken a little bit to get used to of 3-speed on the floor instead of on the column.
A 1972 Oldsmobile 442, but it's got the W30 option, which was the high performance option for Oldsmobile from 68 through to, well, went a bit later than that, but 72 was probably the end of an era to a certain extent for muscle cars.
Other commitments meant John wasn't racing today, but when your car looks this good, you're going to find yourself on telly anyway.
It's a rare car, it's one of only 289 4-speeds that were made. It's very fast, on the track of course. I just love the lines, you know, the 4-speed, you got to drive it. It's just a lot of fun.
And there's plenty of other rare tin in the AMCC lineup. But if you thought that meant wrapping them in cotton wool, then you haven't met Rob.
This car is a 1969 Shelby Mustang GT500. This is a factory big block 4-speed car. This is not a clone, this is the real deal. This is one of 400 cars that were made on the planet. There's probably only 150 left now today. So out of my 6 American cars, this is the most expensive one, but I like it. All my cars are warriors. I put them in shows, but they don't win much. You know, if you look at it closely, you'll see stone chips everywhere. I drive my cars hard. I've read articles that say that when they made them, the young guys were writing them off quicker than they could actually manufacture them. I don't know, but I think all of this generation of cars were probably responsible for all the insurance premiums going up crazy as well in the States, so see how we go.
And presuming Mother Nature gets her act together, the American Muscle Car Club will be back with Father's Day drags in 2018. Okay, thanks to Mount Shop, it's time to raid some sheds, or barns in this case. This week, we're in the Waikato, the heart of straggler country, to check out Roger and Chrissy's collection.
The car thing has been motivational thing, it's an excitement thing, isn't it? I guess cars are part of our life, our journey, probably our being, I suppose, if you're into cars. Once I got the first one, it wasn't really my love of my life, but it was a start and it got the ball rolling. The bug started as such, and you probably heard that many times.
And a quick glance around the Belfield's rural Waikato property would suggest the bug manifests itself in a range of symptoms.
Well, I've been trying to work out in my own head where's my brand of car. I mean, I thought I was a Ford man from a young age. I wanted to pick on something different, and hence why we started with Galaxy. There was plenty of Impalas out there of the 60s, mid-60s, and there weren't many Galaxy 4-door hardtops, so give that a shot, and it was actually, I'm really starting to love the design of it and the flow and the lines of it. And with rolling over into the 50s eras, well, they're kind of a cool shape because the round stylings of that time with lots of bigger chrome, and I just like cool cars, and it doesn't matter what brand or breed, Ford, Chevys, Dodge, Chrysler, whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. They're just, if they're a cool car, I'm in love with them.
There's a Street Machine-styled Mercury build next in line, but Kruger's tastes seem to have gravitated toward 50s GM of late, and like a lot else in this barn, a bit of wear and tear isn't a bad thing.
Oh, that's a difficult one, because to me it's just an eclectic mix of junk. and I suppose I like seeing old, weathered, worn out stuff. The 3 that I'm keeping, the keepers, are all patinaed, weathered in some way or another, and slap some white walls on them, and they just look cool. It's unique, and it's every car's, a lot of cars' patina is unique in their own way. You see how they wear when they travel along the road. I've seen cars just wear from the wind. They've stood the test of time and been looked after, so I'm stoked to have them and be the caretaker for so much more, and they'll stay exactly like that. Yep, all the bones underneath are mint, brand new, or rebuilt or replaced, and then just leave the outside weathered. It's just a cool look, eh?
And while you'll find a few of the usual man cave type decorations complementing the cars here, a couple of accessories are a little larger than others.
5-7 years ago, there was 1 or 2 cars towing a caravan around that just looked different. It was something different, something neat. When you pop in and have a look at what these people are doing and what they're collecting, and you're thinking, oh, that's a nice little combination to have. Oh, that would look quite good with this car or that car. And the vans look great with the 50s. And then you go use the damn thing. Take it out and have tea and crumpets, or beers and bourbons or something. And meet people. The cars are the first thing you've got, but then the second thing I've noticed is the people. And the people's the best part about it, because I go to a car show now and hardly see the cars, you're always talking to people. I guess it is the people, really. It's got to be in the end. The cars get you together.
And we don't have to look too far for examples there. Kruger is the current president of Waikato Club Stragglers Rod and Custom. Their Cambridge turned Karapiro charity show sits at the pointy end of New Zealand's biggest one-day events. A good thing too, as all proceeds go to local kids' causes. But while the hobby is very much about the personalities behind the cars, there's little doubt there's also another bond: man and machine.
It can be an emotional connection, because you or I will have these cars for some length of time, and you do get emotionally attached to them because you've worked them, you massaged them, you've sanded them, painted them, you've knocked skin off and got frustrated with them. However, it's still been an emotional package. And of course the emotion side of it is when we take them out for a drive, it's that great feeling, that buzz of I'm sort of out on the road and I've got something that's really sort of a bit different than others, the mainstream. And that's the great fun buzz out of it.
Every week, we're giving our viewers the chance to win a Teng Tools and Maguire's gift pack worth $250. Simply go to themotorhood.com and follow the Teng Tools Muscle Garage link. Plus, by entering our weekly draws, at the end of the series, one lucky viewer will win a Teng Tools 460-piece automotive toolkit, a complete Maguire's car care pack, and a $500 Mount Shop voucher. The total value of this grand prize is almost $5,000. Good luck, everyone. Teng Tools Muscle Garage was proudly brought to you by Teng Tools. Get organised. Mount Shop, undercar specialists. Maguire's, people who love cars love Maguire's. And Need a Car, the easy way to research and buy cars online.